Welcome back to This Takes the Cake. My name is Dallas Vickers, and we have a very special guest here today. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Payton, and I am we'll say producer.
I was going to say she's the producer, the creative director, the editor, the sound guy, the
sound guy.
Yeah. What else do? You do everything for this podcast.
For the podcast, yeah,
but also,
I do it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
but
very.
What else do you do?
Oh, Lord. Here we go.
Give me the list.
So I'm my title is digital marketing manager.
Okay.
So outside of literally everything that it takes to make the podcast, I manage our social media pages. So Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, all the things.
She posts like 3 times a day, plus like Reels and TikToks.
Yeah. I mean, we have some auto publishing things that help with that. So all of that. Graphics that you see on social media. I edit all of the Reels. A lot of our print media too. So like the brochures, flyers, business cards, I do all of that kind of stuff.
Some website stuff.
Any updates that need to be made there. Hopefully we'll have a new one rolling out soon with some updates.
Keep on the lookout with some updates on our website. It's been in the works for a while. I think it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I know I'm missing some things. Like, I know that there's more. Basically.
Well, what she does, so like, in addition to all of those things, I can also send her an email and be like, hi, can you make a cute sign for this couple's signature drink? And she's like, yeah. And then 5 seconds later, she sends me a sign that I would have paid like so much money for if I had gotten like someone else to make it or gotten a website to make it. So that's really nice.
I mean, I was going to say also too, like graphics for events. So signs like that. But for the most part, if it's online or if it's a graphic of some sort, I likely had my hand in it or did it myself.
For sure. So basically what we're saying is she does a lot here, and without her, our company would not be as, like out there as we are now. I mean, I think social media is so huge for any company right now, especially like I wouldn't call us a small business anymore, but when we were a small business, like, it's essential.
Yeah,
and
it's
hard to keep up with, too. It's a lot more work than people.
Thank God for social media. So when I was little, I was like, oh, I want to be an artist. And my parents were like, oh, God.
Yeah, right.
So thank God for social media, because this is like my creative digital artist outlet. Yeah. And I turn it into a job, so it's a lot of fun. And there's a lot of value in it that I think people value it now. They did not used to.
Do you still get people being like, well, that's not a real job? Whenever you say like, oh, because sometimes people sum up your position as she posts on Instagram.
I think within the company people get it, and I think like other people in marketing get it, but I don't think like the average, like a lot of my best friends are teachers, and they're like, I have no idea what you do on a day to day.
Yeah.
And
honestly,
like
same.
Even my grandparents, I have a very hard time explaining to them. Like, I mean, they sort of get it. Like, they know marketing. Like, they know that's a job, but they don't necessarily understand, like, the social media aspect of it.
My grandparents don't understand what I do at all.
Yeah, I mean,
they're like, what do you mean?
To this day, my mom will text me and be like, what's your job? What's your title? And for the longest time in college, she'd be like, tell me your major again. Because it was, like, this long digital information. And she's like, I need
like,
you.
Well, I'm in the college of business, but this is what I actually do.
Yeah. Have I told you like what the full spiel of my major was?
No.
So it was digital information design, and then my concentration was digital mass media, and then my minor was visual design or visual information, something like that. So you could see why she was like, "What do you do again?"
Yeah, I don't understand. I honestly, most of those words went in one ear, not the other. Anyway,
moving on.
It's really cool what she does, but today we're going to be talking more about social media, more about the social media impact on the event planning world, like trends and just general, need for someone being at their wedding to show off, basically.
I feel like in this episode, people will be surprised how involved social media is in wedding planning.
Yes, it's so much more than it used to be. And also, towards the end of the pod, we're going to talk about some fun weddings on social media that we've seen, like celebrity weddings.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to talk about those.
Me too.
So we'll get into it. First thing I wanted to talk about is social media being new to wedding vendors.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about the competition almost of this.
Okay. Well, let me tell you, I have two spiels.
Okay.
So I feel like people would be like, well, like all my friends are taking videos, like my family, so like why would I pay for that?
Right.
Here's the thing, is you're going to want somebody who knows a good angle, somebody who's not putting the Instagram filter on it and then saving it.
Yeah.
Someone who didn't take all of their videos.
Don't put Paris. Listen, hold on.
The Paris filter.
Stop putting Paris. I'm talking to my sister mostly. Hey, sister. Stop putting Paris filter on all of your Instagrams. It shows your millennialness, and it has to stop. And it looks bad. Continue.
So, I mean, like, there are still people who take so many of their videos on Snapchat and they save it. Like, so you're going to want someone there who knows how to up their settings on their iPhone, who is going to know that they're just going to know the angles. Like, when you hire someone who knows those kind of things, it's going to turn out so much better. So I think don't rely on friends and family if you really want, like, that raw footage and, like, something to post on your Instagram the next day.
And also, friends and family are going to be more in the moment, whereas the person you hire, they don't really know you. They know you enough to know what you want, but they aren't going to be lost in the moment when, you know, the cha-cha slide comes on.
Right.
Like, it's not, you're separated to the point that you know you can still get all the shots, whereas family and friends, you can go back and be like, oh, did you get the toast?
Right.
Did you get this? Did you get, and they're like, oh, no, I was toasting. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. They were being a guest.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, the other thing is, like, the quality of it all. And one thing that I thought of last night when I was thinking about this podcast is you don't get your photos or videos back from the professional photographers and videographers until like you might get a sneak peek.
Yeah, but it's like 10 photos.
But that's like
sometimes.
A few photos, maybe even 2, just so you can post. And they like whip those out as fast as they can because they know that you want to post. But like when you get married, you don't want to wait a month to then social media announce it.
And then my other spiel on this, so I have two sides to it. So you know how like in college when you go out with like all your roommates or your friends or whatever, and then you all wake up the next day and you have the debrief.
Yeah.
And you compare camera rolls and you're like, oh my gosh, I remember that I was there for that, but I did not capture that, or that kind of slipped my mind.
Yeah.
So when you have someone there for social media, they're going to be there for all of those things. And like, how fun would it be? Because there's a 24-hour turnaround time for the social media package that we have.
Yeah.
How fun is it for the next day to look at all of the behind the scenes of your wedding day that was a whirlwind?
Yes.
That you likely do not remember every detail of.
It's so cool. I think this is something that it's being brought into the future of weddings. And it might sound a little, I don't know what the word is, not pretentious or like conscious of media, but you know, that's how you share your life. I mean, if you're someone like me, I live states away from my friends and family. And if I were at like an event or something, I can see the appeal of I can see the appeal of even having someone there for, you know, friends and family out of the country. Yeah. I mean, it applies a lot.
And then the other side
but also,
of it,
it's just cool.
Yeah.
Like, it's a little bit of a flex. And if you can afford it, I say do it.
I know. The other side of it is the photos and the videographer. Like, those are going to be very professional. Like, you're not going to get the silly, goofy parts of it. And, I mean, like, how cool would it be for you to have, like, the raw footage to where, like, who knows what the quality is going to look like in 20 years. But, like, I love looking back on like old videos of weddings from like the 80s, and like they're just so, obviously they have the vintage feel to them, but they're also like just so in the moment and like not perfectly edited. And I think that having someone there for social media or just having like behind the scenes footage gives that same feel that you can look at in 20 years.
It doesn't matter where you put it. You don't even have to put it on Instagram.
Oh, no.
Just have it for yourself. Yeah. It's almost like you said, a home video.
Yeah.
And someone who's there who's not worried about, you know, oh, I have to go down the aisle in 5 minutes. I need to put my phone away.
Right.
You can have someone videoing it. I think it's a really cool idea.
So you'll get the pretty footage for Instagram and to, you know, flex a little bit. But then you'll also get like the funny raw moments that you can just have for yourself and maybe your kids one day, something like that.
So whenever you're doing something for one of these weddings, what is a request you've gotten for like, oh, I need you to make sure you have a photo of this when it happens or something?
I don't know that I have a weird request, but I found that there's a lot of people that have reached out that like aren't necessarily big on social media. Like, I would expect it would be someone with, like, a large following, influence in the community. But I've had a good bit of people that are, like, private on Instagram. They're like, I don't really do social media. And I'm like, okay, like, what do you need me for?
Yeah. But that kind of wraps back to what we were talking about.
Yeah, wraps back to just
people
have the footage.
Friends and family everywhere, and they might not be able to make it.
Yeah.
And also, in the world of COVID, a lot of people don't go to social outings anymore.
Yeah, there's still people that are a little.
And also, when it was happening, having all that footage live on Instagram, it's very helpful.
So one that I'm going to in November, we're not doing like a live for the ceremony because she's like, I don't think my grandparents know how to even work Facebook to get to a live.
Right.
But we're just going to film the ceremony straight through, like on a tripod, and she'll have it the next day to send to people.
That's nice.
So
are you in charge of that?
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
So I'll be
guests at a wedding.
We'll have a tripod set up, but also be doing social media stuff there. So yeah, it'll be good.
Oh my God, that's so cool. So when someone does hire you, what should they expect? What is kind of your internal plan of attack for the day?
So it depends on what they request. So if someone's like, I would love a video of my bridesmaids, I want a full video of, or a montage of the ceremony, and then one of reception. I do, so like obviously they get all the footage that I take in the photos and stuff like that, but then depending on the package, you'll get like an edited video and a story highlight put together. So it depends on like what's important to you as to what I'll edit and deliver, but whatever I'm there for, I'm taking a photo and a video of all of it. I'm not going to be like, oh, not this moment. Like, my phone will always be on. I will have that portable charger.
Yeah.
You will get it all. So it just depends on like what's important to you.
Would you make a TikTok for them?
Oh yeah, that's part of it. Yeah. And if they have like a special sound and they saw this transition and they want to do that, I'll be there for that too.
Yeah. I've tried to do that at a lot of different like bachelorette parties or even at weddings, and it's hard to get everyone together, and then
I'm
who's
just
filming.
Laughing at yesterday. You were like, look at this video, that'd make a good transition. And I was like,
guys,
Dallas to what?
Okay, at weddings, all of us try, speaking of like in the moment, it's hard for us to get behind the scenes footage because most of the time we're like, you know, we're on a time schedule and we're like working. So
doing your job.
We're doing our job. But we still like to get behind the scenes footage because Payton makes really cool reels, like showing what we do and why to even have a planner. So I was trying to get some footage from the wedding, and they were dancing, and the lights were cool, whatever. And Caroline, my usual co-host, was filming in front of me, right? And have y'all seen those photos where they take a photo of the screen taking a photo? Does that make sense?
I know. Yes.
If you know, you know. So I was like, oh, how cool would it be if I took a video of Caroline taking a video and then zooming into the phone to then transition to the people dancing. The problem is,
okay, I don't think you told me all of this because maybe I could have made that work.
Oh.
All you showed me, hold on. All you showed me was a video of a conga line and said, go transition, right? And I was like, what?
Well, I thought you'd get it. I thought you'd just get the vibe.
Okay, we'll go back and look at it because maybe I can make it work.
I think you can make it work. But anyway, I had a vision, and then the problem is I didn't get any of the other footage needed for said transition. Like she said, she could probably make it work, but it was my vision.
So back to don't just hire your friend because I mean, for the longest time, I was like, oh, like I'm good at social media because I'm young. Yeah. And then I would have conversations with my friends and I'd be like, what do you mean you don't know how to do that?
Yeah. I thought I was good at social media until I met her.
There's definitely a skill to it.
Yes. There's like analytics and stuff.
Oh, yeah. We won't get into all that.
No. But. So let's get into the social media impact on planning. Mm-hmm. How do you manage all of these ideas and like standards that you think our media needs to live up to?
Well, there's always endless trends, but some of them don't always work for what we do and like our business and stuff like that. But on the bride side there's always there's Pinterest galore. There's TikTok galore out there.
Oh, don't we know about Pinterest?
So there are so many times where I feel like it can be overwhelming of should I do this at my wedding? Should I not do that? Or this is a cool idea. Is that going to be something that's timeless, or is that going to be something that was just trendy?
Yeah. So what do you think is a trend right now that's popular on social media because I feel like I have a couple in my head.
That people won't
that they won't like later, or they'll be like, oh, I wish I had done something else, or because there's a few on social media that are very popular right now, and I really, really like them. It's just I don't know about the longevity of it or the practicality. There's a few that are like, oh God, that's a nightmare practically wise.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a great question.
What about champagne towers?
Yeah, those are all over social media.
They're slowly fading out, but not really. They're beautiful and fun, and they're so cute.
Sometimes replacing the cake.
Yeah, they're starting to replace the cake because people are doing different desserts if they don't like cake.
I don't know, but the photos are so pretty.
Yeah, the photos are gorgeous, but I'm just gonna say this, and I'm gonna say my piece, and I'm gonna be done. They are a nightmare to build, and they're not gonna be. Champagne's not gonna be pouring from the top and going to the bottom. It's gonna be pre-filled, and then
it'll just make the pretty photo.
It'll make the photo look really pretty.
But in the moment, it won't be necessarily as magical.
Yeah, if you're expecting this beautiful waterfall effect from your champagne, I'm so sorry, but that's not going to happen. And also, like, the shorter the better. I wish you could insert a photo of that, the picture I'm talking about from the Chicago wedding.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
They did like
I was thinking of a
perfectly sized champagne tower, and they had the cutest photo, and I loved it so much.
I almost feel like that should be maybe something that you do during like your engagement photos.
That could be so it's staged.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just because, like we said, in the moment, it's not necessarily as
it does take as much coordination to get that done and photos of it and get people around you watching you as a cake cutting. So if you want to do both, just know you're going to have to block out a good amount of time from your dance party. But I think it is a cute. The other one, do you see how I just went from one thought to another without pausing?
Okay. Go for it.
That's how my brain works. The other one is the phone call trend.
Yeah, I thought about that.
Yeah.
How do we know? Like, are you really, like, in 20 years going to be listening to hours worth of your drunk guests?
Will it work? That's my question. I think it's so cool.
But it makes for cool photos.
See? It's the Pinterest of it all.
I know.
It's the media of it all, because if you have a cute old phone and you're leaving a message, I think I've seen it a few times here. I'm really rooting for one of my brides to do it at her wedding in April.
But I also feel like unless your vibe is that kind of like vintagey feel, it doesn't really make sense for you to have it at your wedding.
No, not really.
Or even like a boho feel. Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah,
it's got that like vintage vibe to it.
What else is on media right now for weddings that either isn't realistic or a lot of people want to see?
I feel like I always see people recommending that you have your guests do a certain attire or like color palette. And I'm not going to lie, I think that's kind of worth it.
You don't like it?
No, I think it's worth it.
Oh, I like it. Yeah. There was Caroline actually.
But that's the visual photo person in me that's like, do it.
But
I don't necessarily think
it's worth it.
I don't think that's trendy. Like, I think that's going to last.
I think it's going to last. It used to be, I feel like it's gone in and out a few times.
Yeah.
I feel like it was a thing. I remember some sitcom made a joke about, I have to wear this color to the wedding, and it was like a big deal, but I don't think it's a big deal to find a color for a wedding, especially if it's a broad spectrum. Like, everyone wear black, or everyone wear a shade of pink. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I love the pink.
Caroline
or even
went
just
to
like
one
wear
of those.
neutral. Yeah.
Yeah, wear a neutral. I love those for like a very.
I mean, don't be like wear a strapless pink long dress. Like, let's be real. But you can give some
What's
guidelines.
wrong with a strapless pink long dress?
I'm just saying, like, not everybody's gonna want to buy that.
That's true. Yeah.
Are you saying that because you know I don't like pink?
Yeah. I gave my guests a color palette to stick to. I did. I was a little too specific. The colors are not broad spectrum.
That's okay.
They are very specific colors. And my poor mother-in-law was really, struggling to find, stressing to find like a color that suited her, but it's worth it because the pictures are going to be really cute.
Yeah, it will be.
They'll look so good. Grandma won't show up in like fuchsia if your wedding is all black and you tell her to wear all black. So,
but the other thing, which I feel like is dying out a little bit, is wedding hashtags.
Wedding hashtags can die.
I don't like those.
I think that they had their moment. How do you feel about hashtags in general? Do they work? Because I feel like they do, but also
yes and no. So Instagram has artificial intelligence that is smart enough to know that like this is a bride and a groom in the photo, so you don't have to hashtag like bride and groom.
Right.
But
right.
obviously we're still trying, like we want to grow as a business and reach anybody we can, so we're going to use those hashtags so that we come up under like Myrtle Beach weddings, but they're not super important.
Yeah. I know everyone's not like me, but I'm a big like if I'm wondering something, I'm just going to Google it or like look for it. So I do use Instagram like Google sometimes.
Oh, yeah, people do that with TikTok too. Like, how do I whatever, and then it comes up. Yeah.
And then it does come up, and it's because of a hashtag.
Yeah.
So like, it's kind of just depends. But your wedding hashtag, no one's gonna look up hashtag Meet the Martins.
But it sorry, also, but
it's true.
Also, it's 2023. Just tell your friend to tag you in the photo.
Like, yes, yeah, that too. I know that it was originally used to
collect all the photos.
Yeah, to collect all the photos that your guests took. But you don't need to do that anymore.
Hashtag Meet the Martins. That was good.
I know. I'm sorry if your last name is Martin and your wedding hashtag was Meet the Martin.
Yeah, I mean, it's time to let it go. There's other ways to collect the photos.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever heard of AirDrop?
Yeah.
Or one of those, the shared albums?
Yeah, shared album. We did that for my brother's wedding. I mean, we all got like 1,000 photos, but you just add your photos, then unsubscribe. And you're good.
There you go. That's smart. Does it take away from your storage to have those? Because I have a lot of shared albums.
Probably in some way, somehow.
See how I'm asking her tech questions that she may or may not know the answer to?
All I know is that I always run out of storage, so if I can delete it, it's gone.
Okay, back a little bit to what we were talking about before. Live streaming weddings. Mm-hmm. I, again, think that really became a thing in 2020.
COVID, yeah.
Yeah, but it's still around. People are still doing it.
Yeah. So like I said, in November, I have one bride she doesn't want to live stream it. She just wants the full recording so she can immediately have it for people who can't come, which like, I feel like that makes sense. How important are you that everybody is going to jump onto your live stream during your ceremony?
It's all about the delusion, baby.
Invited to the wedding.
That's so funny, actually. Can you imagine, like, so sorry I couldn't invite you to my wedding, but here's the link. You can watch it at this time on this day. But the logistics of it, too, because someone has to remember to live stream it. And then if you're, God forbid, you need a live stream and you are on a remote location.
I mean, even most of the weddings that are outside, like your service is not going to be great.
No, it's not going to look good. It's just not. I mean, it's always the outside weddings that want a live stream. It's never
the one that's got at a hotel with Wi-Fi.
Yes, it's never them. They don't care. It's the ones that are in the middle of like an ancient plantation that has never had a wire near it.
I would say if a video is that important to you, just hire a
videographer and then post it professionally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just giving the delusion of that everyone's going to log on to watch your live stream wedding.
I think that's so funny. I want to live in that delusion. Oh my God. Okay. We should talk about weddings that have taken over social media by storm.
Let's do it.
I feel like I've talked about Sophia Richie's wedding an unhealthy amount of times. Mm-hmm. I love that wedding so much. Mm-hmm. It was in, where was it?
France. Oh.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah, right.
Couldn't be me. It was in France.
Let me just adds to the impact of social media and wedding plannings, because people see photos like this and they're like, that is my goal. And I'm like,
did you see the thing?
Was taken in the south of France and she had celebrities at her wedding. Let's style it down a bit.
Her father is Lionel Richie. You don't have a house in France, correct. Barbara. Like, I'm sorry. She is the impact, but also she kind of led, like you said, there's a lot of out of the country weddings going on right now. Have you seen that couple? It was going around on like social media for a while. They did their engagement photos in an Olive Garden for it to look like a Tuscan countryside. You haven't seen that?
No, but I need to see
it. It was on the news. People were like, this is genius. I was like, is it? Because to me, that still looks like an Olive Garden.
I mean, I guess it depends on what it looked like.
I'll show you after this.
Okay.
She did do a trend that's starting. I've seen it a couple of times. There was a wedding we did at Brook Green that the bride did this, and it's mini bouquets.
Yes. Yeah. So people are starting to not want something that like covers their whole body.
Yeah, because I think for a while there, especially in like the boho era of
big bouquets were
big bouquets that draped down and like had these huge lustrous florals, which is gorgeous.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I love flowers. Like I always have flowers in my house, but
but when it's
it
covering,
takes away from you, I feel like.
I think so too, and especially if you're Sophia Richie, I wouldn't want to cover a single thing.
Right?
I don't want to cover anything.
I mean, if you spent a ton of money on your dress, I want people to see that.
Yeah, and the bride that did this at Brook Green, it was gorgeous. She had a beautiful dress. She was gorgeous. And the bouquet was actually smaller than her bridesmaids' bouquets.
Oh.
Yeah, and she didn't have many bridesmaids, but she did a couple cool things. Only 2 people had she only had 2 bridesmaids, and then she had more people in her wedding party, but they weren't standing with her. And she gave them these like really cool floral looking purses, like clutches.
Oh yes, I've seen that. I've seen that.
So I've seen that a couple times on social media of doing
She also
purses
did
or clutches.
all of her bridesmaids picked their own dresses.
Yes, and
it was so good.
Good. Those photos and videos from that day, they looked so aesthetically pleasing. Oh my god.
Speaking of social media and like going viral and things like that, Pasha, who's a photographer, he posted a really cool video of like how you can get a photo of bride and the groom without doing a first look, because it was a 2-story like beach house.
Yes, so that was the same wedding. Yeah,
they had the bride and bridesmaids on the bottom, groom and groomsmen on the top.
That was cool.
And he took like a really cool drone video. He has gone. I mean, he went viral. Like he's huge on TikTok now and like Instagram. People loved that idea.
It's so smart. I have a bride in October, and they're getting ready in the same house.
Oh,
and I'm gonna ask their photographer if that would be a possibility. I don't know if the house has 2 balconies, but I just loved that idea so much. I really think a lot of people will like that because it's almost like the first touch thing where you don't see each other, but it's like the first touch. But it's like you're upstairs and you know he's downstairs.
It's cool.
It's cute. She changed dresses. That's a huge trend.
Love a dress change.
Keep it. I love this trend. I love this trend.
And I don't think it's something that's gonna go out of style that you'll look back on and be like,
oh, I wish I wore my wedding dress all night. Girl.
No.
Not with that corset. Not with that giant ball gown. I mean, I love the drama for down the aisle. And then...
And like, and like your couple photos and like the family photos and stuff like that. So you do have that like element of tradition to it, but no one wants to dance in that. I mean, every time I've been a bridesmaid where I had to wear a long dress, like half the time I'm hiking it up so I don't trip on it.
And then you just look like a crazy person on the dance floor. Like hiking it up.
Actually, funny story. My sister-in-law, she's gonna hate me for telling this story.
Please tell it.
So she would be one that would probably say she wished she would have done a dress change.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, we danced all night long at my brother and sister-in-law's wedding, but her bustle broke, and so she had like the full train and everything, and they bundled up her dress and they zip tied it, and
who is they?
Probably her mom.
Because it wasn't a planner. It was not a wedding planner.
I mean, she was a very chill bride, so she was like, she thought it was hilarious. Person. Yeah, she thought it was hilarious, but they zip tied her dress so she could keep dancing. So keep that in mind when you think, oh, a short dress might not be for me. It might if you're going to be tearing up the dance floor, because she danced all night long. So
if you're a dancer, maybe think about a dress change.
Yeah, so you don't have to zip tie your
bustle. I've
bustle.
seen some cool ones. I've seen like, I don't know if how I feel about it, but there's been like a 3-time change where there's like
the 3-time change that's a little overkill.
I think one that I saw on Pinterest is the last change they did. It was right before send off, and they changed into like matching sweatpants.
Okay.
Which part of me is like, oh, that's funny and cool, but part of me is like, but what about those send off pictures that are so cute?
Oh, that's true. I didn't think about that.
And they had like sparklers and stuff around them. I'm like, oh, you just. Because that's my vibe. I like the dark with the flash. Right. I love flash photos. So just seeing that the opportunity they lost because they were wearing sweatpants. But they probably loved it.
I mean, if it worked for them, but I see what you mean. Like you want the moment.
Yeah. You want the moment. Back to Sophia Richie. And then we'll move on. I promise. I just love this wedding so much. She did all black bridesmaids dresses, but they were all a different style.
Yep.
So that really makes your mark. That's such a Payton love.
Yeah, I do love that.
She just killed that whole wedding. I don't know who the planner was, but I want to know.
Oh, actually I think I do know. It was
she from LA?
Okay, this is weird, but I feel like banana was in the name.
Oh.
I know that sounds like I just made that up.
Banana.
No, maybe it wasn't banana, but it looked like banana in the
right.
Because I did look. I was like, who planned this wedding? I did go and see.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, she took over social media. Like Vogue
did.
weddings I mean, as they should. But like they did a whole behind the scenes of like them making her custom dress. They did the fitting process. Like I mean. She knew she was going to take over social media. This wasn't just like, oh, everybody loved my wedding. Like, she knew what she was doing.
This was planned. I really want someone, just a regular old person, to do that too.
Like, playing like they're Sophia Richie.
I want them to, like, film the behind the scenes of getting their dress altered at the local alteration store.
I mean, there's people out there that are probably doing it.
I know.
Like,
that's the thing.
Influencers, YouTubers, whatever.
Yeah, true.
There's people that are doing it.
Next person, Hannah G from The Bachelor or Bachelorette.
She was on Bachelor.
Okay.
And then her husband she met in Bachelor in Paradise.
Oh, that's her.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
I think I've seen this wedding. It was
I mean, Wedding Chicks, Carrots and Cake, they all posted it, like all the like wedding blogs. But the big controversy with hers was that she didn't have a bouquet when she went down the aisle. And everybody was like, okay, did a planner screw up and she forgot her bouquet? Or was this a trend? Like, and so
I remember seeing this and people were like, is this a statement?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the backstory was she posted a TikTok about it because, the world went wild.
Right.
And she was like, somebody asked, like, are you carrying a bouquet down the aisle? And she was like, no. And then she stuck with it. Like, that was all it was. All right. And I kind of loved it.
I mean, it comes back to the not covering up the dress, not covering up your moment. I think.
And the other thing was, like,
pretty, but
after the ceremony, like, you stop halfway down the aisle and you do the dip and the kiss or whatever. Like, her hands were free. Like, she wasn't worried about the bouquet, like, in his face or, like,
And you don't have to worry about getting the bouquet back from your bridesmaid or whatever.
Right.
Especially if you don't want to have bridesmaids up there with you. You don't have to worry about.
That's true.
So that's another trend going on right now.
I feel like it's going to be a thing now.
Yeah. I don't blame her. But that was, people were like, is she making a statement? I'm like, what statement is not bringing flowers? Like, what does that mean? What could that possibly mean?
Yeah, I think it was just she just didn't want to carry it.
She also changed dresses. She had a black
She changed
guest
3
attire.
times.
Yeah,
she did.
What did she change into? So
she had like a pretty simple wedding dress. I mean, it was gorgeous, but that was for down the aisle. And then she changed again for a couple photos maybe. And then she changed again for reception.
Okay.
So like 2 were like traditional wedding dresses. I mean, still like very modern, but
yeah.
And then the last one was like all bedazzled. And
if I could afford 2 wedding dresses, I probably would do it too. Because there's always more than one that you love.
She did get married in Italy? Mm-hmm. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, she did get married in Italy.
Stunning.
That's a big thing right now. I feel like since Kim got married in Italy, Kim as in Kardashian, our friend Kim. Kim got married in Italy. And then Khloe got married, or no, Courtney got married in Italy. Like a lot of celebrities are getting
them.
Oh yeah, we can't even get started on. Don't get me started on that. We'll be here all day.
Yeah.
But they got married in Italy, and I'm sure a ton of other celebrities have.
Yeah.
It's just pretty.
I mean,
speaking of not having to, like,
I love the idea of it.
I feel like a lot of places, like venues, you kind of have to spruce up with a lot of florals and, decorations and stuff.
But if you're doing somewhere
like that,
you're good.
You don't need
anything.
if
you do it at the right place.
It's even inspired some people that aren't celebrities. I know my best friend who's planning her wedding right now, she was playing with the idea of having a really, really small wedding, destination wedding in Italy or in Greece. She was like playing with the 2 ideas. Ultimately, she's staying in Houston, Texas.
Oh.
Because it's hard to get like your elderly family out to Italy.
Yeah, that's true.
Like logistically, it's hard. You don't know people there to plan. That's when you need a really good planner.
I mean, outside of like grandparents and like older relatives traveling, I mean, I think do it and keep it a small wedding. Yeah. I mean, just to relate it back to social media.
Yeah.
I follow a very limited number of people on like Instagram and stuff like that. So I feel like for me, it'd be so easy to be like, you're worth it and you're not coming.
Yeah. So like if you can come.
I mean, if you have to make some limitations, maybe tip, if you're not sure who to cut from the guest list.
Yeah.
Do you already follow them on Instagram? If not, they probably don't need to come.
True.
2, do you ever like anything they post on Instagram? If not, maybe they don't need to come and maybe you should unfollow.
This is a lesson for life.
Yeah, I mean, I could have to consume a lot of media to stay on the trends and stuff like that. So my personal accounts, I'm very limited with like who's worth my time to see.
That's true. That's true. And also, if the trend continues of having, you're just the average Joe, but you want to have your wedding somewhere special, that's when a social media person could really come in handy with recording everything at your wedding, so that you can post for the people who didn't get to go because they couldn't fly to Italy or whatever it is, however it happened. Personally, if someone had their wedding in like Greece or something and I wasn't invited, but we were still friends, I'd be like, pop off, girl.
Oh, I would follow every second of that wedding.
I wouldn't care that I wasn't invited. I'd be more happy that she got to go to Europe for her wedding.
Yeah, I know.
Like, that's cool.
If you're a true friend, you'll be okay.
Yeah, for real. Last wedding we're going to talk about, it happened recently, and Vogue posted it, I think, last week. So we're really, when this goes up, it probably won't be at the same time. But it happened like last week. Joey King, child actress, child star, turned into now adult famous star. She's in so many movies, shows.
She's done everything.
She's done it all. She got married in Spain. Switching it up a little bit.
Yeah. Different country.
She's not copying anyone. She was in Spain. She wore one of the most unique wedding dresses I've seen ever.
So cool.
So cool. She wore this texture.
It was a piece of art.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. It looked like
a sculpture.
Runway, sculpture, very, very unique.
And hers is one of the first few like celebrity weddings I've seen where they actually used color.
Yes.
A lot of celebrities keep it pretty neutral, which
Light
like I get
everywhere.
very timeless, but like hers had color. And the
beautiful color too.
Have you seen the venue? Like,
yes, it's so gorgeous. Like everything about, if I had the money, I would do it like that, because I love color. I love unique pieces like that dress. If I was able to find it in Charleston, South Carolina, I would have worn it, girl. Like, that was beautiful. If you haven't seen it, please go look it up. Yeah. Really cool. Even if it's not your cup of tea, you can still appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So she had color like all over the reception, and then her bridesmaids were like a light blue, but I feel like they also had, I think their florals were colorful. Her bouquet was colorful. So
table setting, like the table scape,
and
was
it
pretty
really
colorful.
Worked with like the venue that she was at too, because the ceremony had like, wasn't it like a pool?
I think
behind them, so that was blue.
Some kind of water behind them.
Yeah, it just like made sense with the vibe.
Yeah,
which like you think like Spain, you can do whatever you want, Spain, but
literally.
like you could tell there was effort.
Right. Yeah, there was a lot of effort. There was a lot of thought.
But yeah, she's another one that has been taking over social media right now.
Do you think that with this dress, because I just feel like this dress is so unique, do you think we're gonna start seeing more layered, textured dresses, less lace, more pattern / geometric?
I hope so. I feel like we've already seen not as much lace. Like it's pretty like plain.
Simple is very in right now.
I'm gonna say plain. Yeah, simple's a better way to put it.
Plain.
A lot of
boring.
No.
Simple.
Yeah, simple. And then like I feel like bows are a big deal right now. There's a lot of big bows. Yeah, I do.
I almost did it, but
do love the bows. But hers is one that might start something.
I think so. I think it's gonna spark some little fires and some like normal designers that other people can afford.
Because it's textured, but it's not overkill.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I'm going to take it back for a second.
Okay.
Because we kind of skipped over this because we got excited about celebrities and pretty weddings.
Yeah.
One thing that we need to talk about is like social media boundaries with maybe following your planner, clients, and things along those lines.
Yes. Part of me is like, it's fine because we have a creative job. People know that we have a creative job. It's okay if they see our social media. But also, it kind of gives me, I feel like my personal rule in my head is follow each other after the wedding. It's kind of like, don't follow your teacher on Facebook
That's
until
exactly
after.
What I was gonna say.
There was like a rule of like, don't follow your teacher on Facebook until after you're out of their class.
It's just kind of, because at that point, like, they are a client and they are paying for your service. So it does kind of blur lines a little bit of like friend versus client.
Yes.
And then also, like, let's say they emailed you Friday at 5 p.m., but Friday at 5 p.m. you were at a rehearsal. And then Saturday.
We do have work hours, everyone.
Shocker. and then Saturday you were at a wedding. And then Sunday's your day off. And then Monday's technically our day off too because of events.
Right.
And then you have 80 emails when you get in on Tuesday. So like maybe you don't get to them till Tuesday afternoon. And it's like, well, hey, I emailed you Friday. What were you doing? And they see on social media that Monday you were at the beach because it was your day off.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, why hasn't she replied to my email?
Yes.
It's like,
yes,
our hours are different.
I feel like you definitely have to be careful with those things because, like you said, we do still try to have normal human hours. It's or like, you know, like work hours and have days off, and it can't be your whole life. I mean, you have to be able to go to the beach and enjoy life, and sometimes you want to post it, and sometimes a bride will see it.
Even though I will say we have to tell each other, don't check your email today.
Oh, yeah.
Just take the day off.
Yes. I text Payton all the time. I'm like, should I feel bad? She's like, Dallas, you did 14 hours yesterday. Why don't you just sit? I'm like, okay, well, maybe. That's hard, but yeah.
But also, I will say that, I mean, I don't have like my clients the way you guys have clients. Like you guys build a relationship with them, and I just, you know, take the pretty photos and post. But sometimes you see when they follow you and you follow them, sometimes you see some things you maybe didn't want to know.
I don't need to know everything about your life. I'll leave it at that.
Like some questionable bachelorette activities.
Yes. We're not going to judge you for it, but...
but it just blurs a line.
It blurs a line. Yeah, there's a professional relationship we try to keep, and of course it's more fun than I mean, we're not your accountant. Like, we're your wedding planner.
Right.
I said accountant. I've lived in South Carolina for what?
Too long, you're blurring those
syllables
for together.
Not very long, and now my syllables are gone. So I need to go back to speech.
You got that southern mumble going.
I know. God. That's y'all's fault. But there is definitely a line that you can't cross, and you know, I still think the after wedding is when you can.
It just goes back to like think about it as your teacher.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. And
because remember how weird it was when you'd see your teacher at the grocery store?
Yeah. I'm waiting for the day that I run into my bride at Target, because then in my head I'm like,
that's happened before. Remember
is she gonna ask me about an email?
We went to dinner.
Oh yeah, we went to dinner one time. It was like 3 or 4 of us, and a
bride was there.
A bride was right next to us, and we were like, "Hey, how are you?" She had already had her wedding though.
Yeah,
so it was fine.
I mean, we didn't know, like we were like hiding. It was just like,
yeah, you just see people everywhere that you know.
And it took us a second too, because we just weren't used to seeing her out and about in that environment.
I was used to seeing her in full glam. Like, yeah.
You look a little different without your wedding dress.
Go put it on. I don't recognize you. You're not yourself. Yeah. Social media.
It's more important than you think.
It is.
And it's more involved in wedding planning than you think.
It is. Speaking of social media, follow us.
Wow,
I know we told you how to follow me.
Dallas.
Follow us on all of our media platforms. You know them.
Oh, yeah.
List
Here
them
we
off.
go. Instagram at Studying Berlin Events. TikTok, SMB Events. Check out the website. You're already listening to the podcast, so you know where to find us there.
Yeah, but subscribe and save it.
Yeah.
And
Apple, Spotify. If you're just listening, maybe watch us on YouTube. Subscribe there.
Yes. If you have anything,
we're on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
hiring,
LinkedIn.
You'll be able to see it on LinkedIn.
My friends are so funny. We're all starting to follow each other on LinkedIn. We're like, wow, this is a big.
I love LinkedIn.
Oh, she does. She's a big LinkedIn girl. Follow us, subscribe, and if you have any ideas for what you want us to talk about on this podcast,
let us know.
Let us know, because there's infinite things we can talk about. We can talk about celebrity weddings for like 2 hours, but we're not going to do that. So, thank you for listening. Have a great day, and this takes the cake.